following program has been rated B for beefy. Content may cause hot flashes and dark desires. Hello and welcome back to Heck Knows. I'm your hunk Heck and I know, and oh boy, I've got a special one for you here today. Today we are here to talk about the action movies of Dumpuary. What's Dumpuary? Well, this is episode 4. I mean, you should know that by now. If you don't know, what the heck are you doing here? Go back and watch episode 1, you nut. But for the others, alright, let's get into it. Let's dive right in. Here are the general requirements of an action film. Hunks. First and foremost, we gotta have hunks. I call this genre hunk cinema because it's made with hunks for hunks. You gotta have a hunky action hero to root for. Shout out to all the female hunks who have been starting to get more and more leading action roles in this genre, which is awesome, but unfortunately out of the 46 movies on my action Dumpuary list, there wasn't a single film with a female lead, so we're gonna be talking exclusively male hunks here, so I'm sorry ladies, we'll get you on the next one. More on hunks later though. Number 2, stakes. Second thing an action movie needs is stakes. Our hero has to have a reason to be called to action, whether it's the world that needs to be saved or a kidnapped daughter that needs to be rescued. Something has to be at stake. And the more personal the stakes, the more the audience gets behind the hunk, and generally, the better the movie. Number 3 is goons. A hunk's gotta have some goons. These are often nameless, and with a bland fashion sense, these poor souls exist to serve only one purpose, and that is to be bashed by the hunk. A bit of a meaty appetizer before getting to the main course villain. Sorry, goons. Thanks for your service. And then our last requirement, of course, is adrenaline. I mean, this is why we go and see these movies. We want to get our blood pumping by going to watch some expertly choreographed fight scenes and some wickedly fast car chases, right? It's that easy. This group of films are popcorn movies, and what I mean by that is you go to the theaters for a buttery escape to get some thrills, some excitement, but then once you're out of the theater, you kind of just quickly forget about it, right? All the explosions and fight scenes don't really generate much of a conversation beyond, oh boy, that was cool. Story and character development definitely take a backseat in this genre here, while the hunks are just let loose to go wild. So, what we're going to do in this episode is do things a little bit differently. Rather than talk about the individual movies, we're going to be talking about the individuals. And you know what that means. It's the Battle of the Hunks. Thanks to everyone who voted on the polls on Instagram and voted Willem Dafoe their favorite hunk, winning with a landslide victory over Keanu Reeves with over 7,000 votes to none. Wow, what a victory. I mean, congrats to him. In this Ultimate Action Hero edition of the Battle of the Hunks, though, I'm not just here to tell you who I think is the most handsomest beef house out there. I want to tell you who I think encompasses all it takes to be the Ultimate Action Hero hunk. What does that mean? Well, I created a bracket which I'm going to go through with you here, so I can talk you through my reasoning behind each hunk selection, but here's a quick rundown of my Ultimate Action Hero hunk criteria. Number 1, handsomeness. I mean, come on, it's still the priority here, right? Number 2 is ability, and this is important because the aptitude with weaponry and gunplay, the skills of hand-to-hand combat, these are all important things to consider when you're rating an action hero hunk versus a regular hunk, right? Number 3 is beefiness, overall strength, and pure physicality. Number 4, charisma. A lead star has to be able to put on the charm and carry the movie on their shredded shoulders. Number 5 is hair, which is in relation to handsomeness. Bald is more aerodynamic, but hair gives flair and more style points. And number 6, the quality of the films they star in. I mean, this is less important since we're talking about Dumpuary films, but it does factor in a little bit. Alright, before we get into my bracket, just FYI, any hunk not appearing in my Dumpuary list of films is disqualified. They have to have been in a Dumpuary film here. So there's a ton of hunks who aren't competing, who aren't contending in this, okay? So your hunk might not be on this list. This is just Dumpuary hunks. I put together a list of 32 dump hunks to choose from and randomly put them head to head in my bracket. Let's get started. Here's the Battle of the Hunks, Ultimate Action Hero Edition. Let's go. Alright, so here we are. This is the bracket I made. So we got all our matchups here, 32 contenders to go from. Let's get it going. So number 1, we have Keanu Reeves versus Christian Bale. We got John Wick himself versus Christian Bale, who starred in a movie called Reign of Fire. Pretty badass movie, I loved as a kid. Christian Bale fights some dragons with Matthew McConaughey. Pretty badass, but I mean, I gotta go with Keanu Reeves here. Better hair, better skilled abilities, better movies. Easy choice. What do we got next? Next up, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger versus Billy Zane. Okay, this is a pretty easy one. Billy Zane I included because he was in Scorpion King 3. Kind of a landslide victory here. Gotta go with Arnold. Easy choice. This will get harder as we go on. Here we go. Okay, we got Bald Willis versus Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler starred in Den of Thieves as sort of like a crooked cop. We got Bruce Willis, all-time action hero. Easy choice. Bald wins every time. All right, next up, these are two kind of lesser-known action heroes. We have Chris Pine, who starred in Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit or something like that. Ethan Hawke starred in a movie for sure. What was it called? Don't remember, not important. I'm going Chris Pine. Let's move on. Another kind of weak matchup on this one here. Look at this. We got Kellen Lutz. This guy, I think he was in a Twilight movie. This picture here is from Legend of Hercules, which is on my Dumpuary list. Awful film. Would probably be on the dud list if we were doing that today. But he is undeniably beefy. And he's up against old man Kevin Costner, who was in a movie called 3 Days to Kill, as well as Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit with Chris Pine. Do we go with wisdom, or do we go with the youth and beef? I think number one quality was handsomeness. I think think we go with Kellen Lutz on this one, just based on the beefiness alone. Ooh, okay, look at this matchup. All right, we got Ice Cube. He was in a movie called Torque. Crazy movie with all kinds of stunts and like quads and all that kind of stuff. He's up against our good old friend Channing Tatum, who we talked about so many times before. I think we've given him enough love, right? Definitely a hunk. I think we can just give a little bit of love to Ice Cube now and just sort of move on. I mean, congratulations on the beef, though, Channing. Well done. Oh, look at this matchup. We have Jet Li versus Chris Hemsworth. Holy moly. We got ability galore in hand-to-hand combat and skill with Jet Li, and then we have the ultimate beef house himself, Chris Hemsworth. I mean, just look at this man. Oof. Okay. So since this is the action hero bracket, I think I'm going to give this one to Jet Li, which I can't believe I'm doing since Chris Hemsworth is just an unreal beefcake. I think Chris Hemsworth wins in those past other two matchups, but on this one I'm going Jet Li. I can't believe I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. Done. Okay, moving on. Oof, our final matchup of this side here. This is John Travolta, who tried his luck at the action genre. Trying out the bald look, which I'm not a fan of on him. He's in a movie called From Paris with Love. Not a great movie. He was kind of crude in it. And he's up against the bad boy himself with Will Smith. Gotta give it to Will here. I mean, no question. What's next? Oh, so we're moving on to round two of this side of the bracket. Okay. So we got Keanu versus Arnold. Ooh. I mean, if we were going for a collection of movies, I would give it to Arnold, but I think I gotta go for handsomeness and hair and just speed. I feel like Arnold is just a little too slow on his feet right now. I'm gonna go with Keanu on this one, so sorry for any Terminator lovers out there. Just gonna go with Keanu and call it a day. I can't dwell on this too much. I gotta kind of just pick one and move on, right? Okay, Battle of the Leather Jackets here. We got Chris versus Bruce. Bruce wins every day of the week here. Okay, we got Beef versus Cube on this one. Ooh. Not really sure where to go with this one. I mean, I'm just gonna go with Beef on this one, I think. Don't really know much about this guy, but I mean, undeniable beef house. Ooh, okay, now we have Jet Li versus Will Smith. This is a tough matchup here. Jet Li, like I said, he's got the ability, but I think there's just something about Will Smith. I think you guys can agree with me. I think I gotta go with Will Smith on this one. Ooh, back up to the top. We got hair versus bald, and this is a pure hair battle, and I gotta go with the hair. I'm so sorry, Bruce. Next up, okay, easy choice. I gotta go Will Smith on this one here. Don't even know who this guy is, to be honest. And then our final matchup, that means, is Keanu versus Will Smith, and this is a pretty tough one. I mean, I think a lot of people really like Will Smith, but I'm on the other side. I think Keanu is actually a really, really strong action hero right now, and he's just been killing it lately, so I'm just going to go with Keanu on this one. He's my contender for this side, and then let's move on to the next side. First matchup over here, we got Marky Mark versus Denzel. Mark was in a movie called Contraband, pretty forgettable, and honestly, Marky Mark has been very forgettable lately, let's be honest. Give it to Denzel, kind of an easy choice here. Grizzled vet, gotta give it to him. Moving on. Oh, this is a good matchup here. We have Liam Neeson versus Clive Owen. Sort of like the elder with handsome, experience, kind of grizzled, big men. Good facial features, strong noses. I think just for being in so many action movies and just kind of being the face of action movies over the last 10 years, I got to give it to Liam Neeson. I actually really like Clive Owen a lot. I think he's a really handsome guy. I like lots of the movies he's in, but I think for action hero, I definitely got to go Neeson on this one. Pretty easy choice if I'm being honest. Okay, next matchup. Okay, so we have Martin Lawrence, Bad Boys for Life. He was also in an action comedy called National Security back in like 2003 or something like that. And he's up against Colin Firth, who is in Kingsman. I gotta go with Colin Firth on this one. I mean, look how regal he is versus Martin Lawrence, who's just kind of a goof. I mean, goofiness doesn't really translate into hunkery all the time. Definitely got to go with Colin Firth on this one. Next matchup, we got Nicolas Cage versus DMX. DMX was in a movie with Jet Li called Cradle to the Grave. Nicolas Cage, I mean, he's got the charisma galore. Let's give it to Nick Cage on this one. Oh man, next one is a tough one. Look at this. We got Rambo, Sylvester Stallone versus Ryan Reynolds. Oh boy. This is a tough choice on this one here. We got to go either handsome or skill. Rambo, obviously, he's the most skilled person in the American Army, right? And then Reynolds, he's one of the most handsome boys out in the West. I think I'm going to go... I've gone with skill a lot so far. Let's give it to the handsome on this one. Ryan Reynolds takes it. Ooh, next matchup we have Matthew McConaughey using Reign of Fire with Christian Bale versus Vin Diesel. What a beef house. My God. Bald versus bald. Interesting. So hair doesn't factor in here. But, I mean, easy choice. We got to go Vin. His name is Vin Diesel, right? I mean, action hero for sure. Ooh, okay. Next matchup, we have Lawrence Fishburne versus Jason Statham. I mean, Fishburne has been in a couple of good ones, but I think this is an easy choice. We go with Statham. I mean, he's kind of an action staple these days. He's been in so many good action movies. Got to go with Statham here. And then finally, on this side of the bracket, we have Harrison Ford versus Taran Eagerton. This is a tough one. I mean, I think just based on experience alone, Eagerton doesn't really have much to his name besides this Kingsman movie that's on this list. I think we go with Harrison Ford here, just based on, I think just out of respect. Yeah. Moving on. Back up to the top. We got Neeson versus Denzel. It's the top matchup. I think they're both kind of like grizzled veterans. I'm just going to give it to Neeson here because he's been in 6 movies. He's got the skills. Like I said, he's got the goods. Let's go. Okay, so we got kind of like a charisma matchup going on here for this one. We got Cage versus Colin Firth. And I think just on craziness alone, I'm just going to keep pushing Cage. He probably doesn't deserve it, but I'm just going to push him anyways. Cage on that one. Ooh, Ryan Reynolds versus Vin Diesel here. We got ability and baldness versus hair and handsomeness. I'm going to give it to the hair. Ryan Reynolds. Moving on. Okay, next we have Statham versus Ford here. This is a pretty easy choice. I think Ford, out of respect, we had to give it to him last time, but this time around, I think Statham just outclasses him on the skill, aptitude level. And yeah, that's all there is to say about that one. Back up to the top. Neeson, Cage. Easy choice. I mean, Neeson, come on. Easy choice on that one. Sorry, Cage. Love you. Let's see. Ryan Reynolds versus Statham. Ooh. On the regular hunk battle, I would give it to Reynolds here. But seeing as this is the ultimate action hero edition, I'm giving it to Statham. I think he deserves it. So which means we have Neeson versus Statham in our standoff on this semifinal on this side here. Ooh. Both skilled. Both kind of handsome. If you're into that kind of thing, I'm going Neeson. Which means that our final matchup is John Wick, Keanu Reeves versus Liam Neeson. And let me tell you, I don't know who to pick here. My heart says Keanu, but my mind is telling me Neeson. Yep, it's got to be Neeson. He's the ultimate action hero. So here it is. Wow, look at that. What a battle. Neeson takes the cake. Maybe a controversial choice, but the ultimate action hero hunk of Dumpuary goes to Liam Neeson. Congrats, I did it. Not the handsomest beef house out there, but I had to go with him because he has the skills, the hair, the stature, and he stars in more films than anyone else on this list by far with 6 films. Amazing stuff. Congrats again. Since we're talking Liam Neeson, here's where I'd put his Dumpuary films on the bunk bed. The top bunk award for best Liam Neeson movie of Dumpuary would go to The Grey. This is a pretty good action survival movie with some pretty bad dogs in it. The middle bunk shoutouts would go to The Commuter and Non-Stop. They're basically the same movie, but one has a plane and one has a train. The bottom bunk award for biggest Dumpuary dud from Liam Neeson would go to Taken 3. Pretty obvious choice. Not a great film. Might be contending for the biggest dud out of all the movies on this list. Look at this clip. And finally, just to wrap things up, if we were treating this like a regular episode, the awards would go as follows. The top bunk award would go to The Kingsman Secret Service over John Wick Chapter 2. I think it's an overall a little bit more entertaining movie than John Wick is. I like the humor and good action, good charisma from everybody involved. Really slick movie. And then on the other hand, the biggest dud award would go to Rollerball. I mean, I'll leave you with a bunch of clips from Rollerball as we head out here. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Hunk Cinema episode. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Hunks.